Welcome to Function Operations. The best way to watch this video is to take notes while I'm teaching. Pause the video as often as you need to get your notes down. And every time we arrive at a you try, pause the video, attempt the problem, and press play when you're ready to see the solution along with the work. In this section, we'll cover the following topics. Operations with functions can look two different ways. F of x plus g of x, or f plus g of x. They mean the same thing. F of x minus g of x, or f minus g of x. F of x times g of x, or f times g of x. F of x divided by g of x, or f divided by g of x. We need to make sure that if we have an x in the denominator, we state that the denominator cannot be 0. Let's take a look at an example here. We're given the function f of x equals 4x squared plus 1, and g of x is equal to 3x. So this says f of x plus g of x. So we're going to use parentheses and replace it in. So that's f of x plus g of x. Now, if there were any numbers outside to multiply, or if that was negative, we would distribute, but it's just adding, so we can combine like terms. And we actually don't have any like terms, so we can just put it into standard form, and that's the answer. Let's take a look at the next one. We've got f of x minus g of x. So we've got 4x squared plus 1 minus 3x. Now, in this case, we have a subtraction symbol, so we have to distribute it to everything in that second parentheses. There's just one term. So we've got 4x squared plus 1 minus 3x, and then we can place it into standard form. All right, we've got f of x times g of x. So we're going to use parentheses here, 4x squared plus 1 times 3x. And we'll distribute. Color here. So we'll take that first term, multiply it there. So that's going to be 12. That's got a first power. So 4 times 3. X to the second times x to the first is x to the third. And then that term is done. And then we'll do plus 1. So that would be plus 3x. It's already in standard form. So we're all done. And lastly, we're going to do f of x divided by g of x. So our f of x is on top. The order does matter. So that would be 4x squared plus 1 over our g of x is 3x. Now, we're almost done here, except for the denominator, 3 of x, cannot be 0. We just will solve that problem, divide both sides by 3. In this case, x cannot be 0. So this is the solution. We'll do a couple more together, and then you'll try some problems on your own. It's also possible that you will evaluate it at a number. So what I like to do first is rewrite it when it comes like this. This says f plus g of 2. So that's really f of 2 plus g of 2. And so f of 2 means anywhere there was an x, I'm going to be replacing it with a 2. So that's 3 times 2 to the second power minus 6 times 2. Plus, anywhere in g that there was an x, I'll be replacing it with a 2. Now I'm going to do this whole operation first. Maybe you type it right into your calculator. If you choose to do it by hand, just make sure that you're following order of operations, that you are doing the 2 squared and then multiplying by 3. When you type it in your calculator, you get 0. Plus, when you type this whole thing into your calculator, you get -3. So the answer here is -3. F plus g of 2 is equal to -3. Let's take a look at another one. Again, the first thing I like to do is rewrite it so that I can see where I'm putting the 1. Then I'll substitute that in. So g of 1, -2 times 1 plus 1 minus f of 1, 3 times 1 squared minus 6 times 1. And then I'm going to do this whole thing. Maybe you type it in your calculator, maybe you do it in your head, and you get -1 minus, do this entire thing. Again, remember exponent before multiplication, and you get -3. When you type that in your calculator, or maybe you do it in your head, you get 2. G minus f of 1 is equal to 2. And f times g of 0. So that's the same as f of 0 times g of 0. So f of 0 is, just going to maybe do my work a little bit lower, 3 times 0 squared minus 6 times 0 times -2 times 0 plus 1. So we're going to do this whole calculation here. And we get 3 times 0 squared. Well, that's 0 minus 0 gives us 0. Well, 0 times 1, the answer is 0. F times g of 0 equals 0. One more example together. This notation can be the trickiest, so we'll try it again without any numbers on the inside. So we've got p of x and we've got r of x. And so we'll take a look. They say r plus p of x. So that's really the same as r of x plus p of x. And I do find it helpful to start by rewriting the notation. So r of x is x plus 2 plus p of x is 4x. Now this is a plus, so we don't need to distribute the negative. There's no numbers outside to distribute. So we'll simply combine like terms. I'm going to put a 1 there. So we've got 1x plus 4x, we get 5x plus 2. And we've got p divided by r of x. Well, that's the same as p of x over r of x. So p of x is, we'll put it over here, p of x is 4x and r of x is x plus 2. We can't simplify that at all, but we do need to say, hey, x plus 2 can never be 0, and just solve that. And we get x can never be -2. So here is the solution for that. You give these 4 problems a try, press play when you're ready to see the solutions. Check your work, see how you did, and that concludes function operations.